Hey there. I hope you are doing well. I'm Jamey from Stonemeyer Games, and I'm here for Rolling Realms live play game 84, round 1. Today we have Tokaido, Atiwa, and Potion Explosion, a fun combination of realms that I'll explain a little bit as we go. If you have these realms, you can play along. If you don't have these realms, you can get them on our web store, except I think we're out of stock of Potion Explosion. But you can make a back and stock request so we know if we should make more. Or you can play along with any other realms and just use the dice that I roll. I will start by rolling the first number, a 2 and a 6, just so you have something to work on while we're chatting here. I see Chad, Scott, and Scott. Same Scott twice. Hello, Chad and Scott. I hope you're doing well. Okay, 2 and a 6. So in Tokaido, we're trying to have different numbers. We're trying to fill in all 8, ideally. And like in the game Tokaido, we're going from left to right. Filling in various numbers. The order of the numbers doesn't really matter. I can fill in any number. Atiwa, I am potentially trying to circle some bats. So the 6 could be good for getting some resources early. And Potion Explosion, I think this potion, filling in this potion, both numbers here to gain any die could be a great early play. See Mark joining us today as well. Thank you, Mark, for popping in. So 2 and a 6. Is there any way that I can get some coins here? Actually, I believe there is. Let's do this. I'm going to put a 2 right there to get 2 hearts. I'm going to use the 6 over here because when we circle a terrain card, we get all the benefits in it. So here I will circle this terrain card and I will get a pumpkin and a coin, which I'll use in a second. But before we finish with Atiwa, it says then, if possible, mark 3 circled unmarked bats to gain a pumpkin or a heart. So I do have, I don't have any circled bats. That's a good use for a future 6. Can't do that yet. But now I have this coin that I can turn into a 1 and put it right here. Now in Potion Explosion, I can't use the same number twice in the same potion. And so I won't be able to use a number here, but I could use another number there in the next game. All right, roll number 2, a 3 and a 4. 3 and a 4. Garrett says, your mouse pad reminds me of another game in a small box with a lot of game in it. Burger Brothers. Garrett, this is actually an extra board that came from Burger Brothers. I did film that video yesterday. That was big games or games that feel big in small boxes. And Burger Brothers was mentioned. At least I hope I mentioned it on the list. Yes, I did mention it on the list. I see the Infinite Dude says, Potion Explosion is one of the realms I can't get until it's reprinted. I'm sorry about that. Yeah. I would say we are very close to having enough people interested in that. Really, we will reprint it sometime in 2026, ideally along with some other realms that we're making. Anyway, we have a 3 and a 4 here. I would love to circle some bats. I think that would be good. I want to continue to progress on Tokaido. And if I put either of those numbers here, I can gain any die to use someplace else. That's probably the play. I will put, although I get 2 coins here and use them for whatever I want. Let's put a 3 here, and then I can gain a die of any number. I'll hold off on that for a second because I could use that as a 6 to circle 6 bats. That would actually be pretty good. Why don't we do that? I'm going to fill this in right away. I'm going to gain any die, any number. I'm going to gain a 6 so I can circle a bunch of bats. And only bats that are in outlined areas. And then I can mark 3 bats to gain a pumpkin or a heart. I'll choose a heart, a little more valuable early in the game, in my opinion. I haven't used the 4, so I will write a 4 over here in Tokaido. I will have some costs coming up, but for now, they're all benefits to get 2 coins. That's a nice early benefit in Tokaido. All right. 4 and a 5. 4 and a 5. I will say, for the first time in a long time, I designed a realm for Rolling Realms very recently. It's one that we are going to print. It's for a future Stonemeyer game, of course. We're going to print it along with a realm designed by Mark, who's here in the comments. A realm that's designed by Nathan Smith, who's done some fan realms, and a realm designed by the amazing Carell. We're all working on realms based on future Stonemeyer games. So we're going to print them. We're kind of working on them now so we can test them together and print them all together. And I'm really excited about that. I've seen Mark's is great. I've obviously seen mine. I'm excited to see Carell's and excited to see, or I've seen a version of Nathan's, and we have a few revisions and then we'll put that together with the others. Anyway, a 5 and a 4 here. So I can't put a 4 in Tokaido, but I could put a 1 or a 5. In Atiwa, I do have 3 bats that I can circle off, so I could use this one to fill in. I'm inclined to get more resources early, so I like using the 4 here in Atiwa. Let's do that. Use the 4 here to get a heart and a coin, and now I do have 3 circle bats, so I could just automatically fill them in and get a pumpkin or a heart. Just in case I need it, I'll go for a pumpkin here. That was the 4. The 5, where do you use the 5? I have the pumpkin available, so I could use that in Tokaido. I haven't used a 1 yet in Tokaido, so why don't I put the 5 right here in Potion Explosion and just create a 1 in Tokaido. And really, I could use a 1 more than once in Tokaido. I could use it 3 times. It's the easiest number to get, thanks to coins. I just need to have 6 different numbers for 2 stars. I do have to pay a pumpkin to mark that off, though. So here's the paid pumpkin. All right, all good. Turn 4. Another 4 and a 3. A lot of 4s so far this round. A 4 and a 3. So why don't I use the 3 in Tokaido? I know that I don't have that yet over here, so I will use the 3 right there to get a star. And the 4... could be a 4 or a 1 over here in Potion Explosion. 4 is probably a little better for Atiwa. I use the 4 right there. So why don't we do that? I'll use the 4 right here. That gives me a star. It gives me a pumpkin. And I don't have 3 bats to circle, so I'll have to hold off on that for a future turn. And then over here in Potion Explosion, I'll put a 1 right there. Let's see. I see Board Game James here. He says, how big are those dice? These dice, I believe, are 25 millimeter dice. They're pretty big dice. I don't have here. I have a Japanese Kit Kat to compare it to. So standard Japanese Kit Kat comparison, of course. Here's how big the dice are compared to a Japanese Kit Kat. Scott says, all realms have to be tied to Stonemaier Games. Yeah, so all those realms that I said that we're working on, here's the roll, 1 and a 6, are all based on future Stonemaier games that we know that we're making. So we usually plan around really 2 to 4 years in the future, but we have a very good idea of what is happening in the next 2 years. And the Infinite Dude has a nice comment. Thank you, Jamey, for Rolling Realms, by the way. This is the game that got me into solo board gaming. Oh, that's great. It's interesting. I don't think of this game as solo because I feel like I'm playing with you all, but it is very much essentially a solo game, even without the actual solo mode in the game. Board Game James says, now I want the dice and a Kit Kat. LOL. Go get yourself a Kit Kat, James. You deserve it. Anyway, I already rolled the dice. I don't get to roll them again. 1 and a 6. I was saying that I would like a 6 in Atiwa to circle. Although ideally the number is 4 right now for the number of bats that I have. A 1 doesn't work in Potion Explosion, but a 6 could work there. Oh, and I do have a star. I completed that 1 potion. So I do have a star there. What should I do here with a 1 and a 6? I haven't used a 6 in Tokaido, so that could be a good place to use it. I could use the 1 easily in Atiwa. Okay, why don't I use the 6 in Tokaido? I'll use a 6 there at least. It costs me a heart. I'll use the 1 or a 1 in Atiwa. That gives me a star. And now I haven't done anything in Potion Explosion, which worries me a little bit. I could copy a number and use it here. You know, why not? I will use the 3 hearts to copy the 6 and write it right there. That gives me 2 more stars. And that means whenever I want to use this ability, this one-time ability, gain 1 resource per star scored in this realm. I have 3 stars scored so far, so I could gain 3 resources. I could also try to wait to finish this one to get 6. That might be a little greedy, so I might wait on that. Turn 6. A 2 and a 3. 2 and a 3. Oh, Corel, I was just talking about how amazing you are and how we're working on some realms right now. And yeah, Corel says that they're working on the play testing, almost ready for play testing a realm. So yeah, that's 4 realms. And Corell, I was saying that maybe we should reprint Potion Explosion at the same time as we are printing these new realms that we're currently working on. Okay, 2 and a 3. The only number I haven't put in Tokaido is a 5. But of course, again, I can have repeat numbers. I'm just trying to get all 6 numbers in there at some point. Potion Explosion, probably a good time to get these extra resources. 2 and a 3. So I'd love a 6 at this point to circle a bunch of bats, but I could at the very least use a 3. I think that might be the play in Atiwa, to circle 3 bats and immediately fill them in to get a pumpkin or a heart. I'm out of hearts again, so let's go with a heart. That's Atiwa. Tokaido, I could put a coin there. I could put a 2 there. Potion Explosion, either way, I think both are viable. I could also gain a bunch of resources right now. I don't know if I quite need them yet, though. So why don't I put a 2 right there, gain a coin, put it over here in Tokaido, and get those nice 2 pumpkins. That sounds good to me. Board Game Jamey says, he says, we actually have 2 shops nearby. Here's a 6 and a 5 with a variety of the Japanese Kit Kats. Have you tried the lava cake one? No, but that sounds amazing. I'll eat a lava cake version of anything. This version, this says blueberry in Japanese. Actually, blueberry cheesecakey. So there's a blueberry cheesecake. This is one that we got last year near, it shows Mount Fuji. We were in Yokohama in a tower trying to look at Mount Fuji. We weren't quite at Mount Fuji when we got that one. We never did get there or see it. 5 and a 6. 5 is the number I needed in Tokaido. So 5, let's definitely do that. Let's put that 5 in Tokaido and get 2 hearts. Do you all have a favorite weird Kit Kat flavor? Not weird. Weird is judgmental. Oh, a favorite different Kit Kat flavor. A non-standard Kit Kat flavor, not the standard milk chocolate. But lava cake sounds really good. I would love to try that one. That's a 5. I do need a 6 in Atiwa. That kind of worked out pretty well. I don't get to circle 3 bats again, but I think that's okay. I use the 6 here because I do get a, let's make sure I have all the hearts that I should have. 1, 2, here's my 3rd heart. Or a star, sorry. And here's another heart. I could even, I'll come back to that in a second. I'll come back to it. Okay, here's the moment where I probably need to gain some resources so I can write something down here. So I'm going to use this to gain 1 resource per star scored in this realm. I think I'm going to go with all coins. I think that's the play. 1, 2, 3, because I can use one of those coins right now, right there. But what I'm wondering is, in Atiwa, I could copy the 6. It would take me 3 hearts, 3 pumpkins to circle all 6 remaining bats right now. I need 2 turns to do it. I'll wait one turn. It's well, I don't want to gamble. I don't want to gamble with this because I might not roll another 6, and then I'm out of luck. So I am going to use a bunch of resources to do it now. I will circle all of these bats and then fill in 3 of them so that I get the extra resource. And that resource, I have that heart remaining. I'll go with, don't know if I need hearts as much now. I will go with a pumpkin. All right, turn 8. A little bit, well, actually not a gamble. It was the opposite of a gamble. I'm sorry, that was a 3 that I just twisted, a 3 and a 5. So I could have made it work with that 5. Okay, I see some answers to the Kit Kat question from James. Chad had a peanut butter and jelly M&Ms. He said, not too bad. Scott says, do they still make those funky flavored jelly beans, like booger flavored? I'm sure somewhere someone does. Chad says, I live for the weird. James says, I think it's Bean Boozled now. And Jelly Belly, I think, stopped the obscure flavors. And Garrett says, at work, someone brought in some wafer treats from Loacker that I think is the name. Quite good. Yeah, it's neat to see the different versions of Kit Kats. Not exactly Kit Kat. Like the quick lunch version from Norway that we had was very good. It wasn't Kit Kat branded, but it was a wafer chocolate that was very similar to Kit Kat. Anyway, we have a 5 and a 3. I need exactly a 3 in Atiwa. So actually, no, I don't need. Oh, this is interesting. I can't use Atiwa anymore. So I don't know if I get those last bats. Because I get to use the benefits of Atiwa when I outline or when I circle bats. But I can't do either of those things in Atiwa. So I do get the star for circling all bats, but I don't think I can do anything else to trigger Atiwa, to activate it, to get those final 3 bats filled in. That's too bad. I didn't think about that. That's okay. I will instead use a number. I will put a 5. I'll put a 5 over here in Tokaido. Actually, no, I'll go with a 3. With a 3, it cost me a coin. And then I'll put the 5 over here in Potion Explosion. Oh, that's too bad. That's a tactical error in Atiwa. I did not think about that. And then final roll, a 5 and a 2. I need a different number in Potion Explosion. That could be tricky. It could be any number, though. Just can't be one of these two. Fortunately, I have 2 pumpkins left, so I can use 2 pumpkins to manipulate one of these into we'll say a 6 to get those final 3 stars. And the 2 will go down here to get that star and get the rest of these stars. So it could have been a perfect round, but I worked too quickly on Atiwa, I think. Mark says, I think you can use any number to mark the remaining bats. I don't know if I can mark. I've already circled them. So it says circle up to a number of bats on outlined terrain cards. But I circled them on a previous turn, not the current turn. I think the then happens on the turn where I've done one of those previous things on the same turn. I could be wrong about that. I will check that. And Chad says I was distracted by Kit Kats. I totally was. Still, overall, a good round. 16.2. I didn't write this down. 5 and a 2. 16.2 is a solid round. Thank you all for hanging out and either playing along or just chatting with me about candy. I'm going to go enjoy Kit Kat right now. I hope you have a great day. I will be back tomorrow at the same time. All right. Take care.